Okay, right back here with you on the Rich Van Tassel channel, giving you the weekly NBA report. We're now only 2 weeks in, so not even 10 games have been played by any team yet. But we're starting to see a bit, more get established. Of course, it probably won't be until after the first month, right around after Thanksgiving, when teams really start to establish themselves. But that's what you got to wait for that. So we're still developing as the season progresses. Obviously, you've got to look at the Golden State Warriors. Last week, they defeated the Los Angeles Clippers. They're now 8-0. So you look at their overall record: 67-15 last year, 16-5 through the playoffs. That's 83-20. They're now 8-0 thus far this season. So that is, that is 90-20, 91-20 over their past season and thus far this season. So that's a very impressive record. They continue to roll. They beat the Los Angeles Clippers last week. Clippers, some predict to be one of the top challengers in that conference. They beat them by 4. Paul Pierce, the guy brought in to close out those type of games, did not play well that game. So you have your question marks with the Clippers. Some surprise teams. You have the Detroit Pistons at 5-2. I certainly didn't expect that. You do have Stan Van Gundy. He is a very good coach. We know he gets teams ready to play. He always has a good game plan. The only problem it's really ever been with Stan Van Gundy is he just rubs guys the wrong way. As Shaquille O'Neal called him, the master of panic. And that's just the thing. He's very into it. He takes things, as I don't want to say as their life and death, but he takes them as their life and death as far as the NBA sense. Reggie Jackson having a very good year, 22.7 points per game. Andre Drummond is filling the role without Greg Monroe there anymore, 19.4 points per game, and he's averaging 19.6 rebounds per game. Whoa, it's a lot of rebounds. So he's been a monster, and even if his numbers dip off a bit in the rebound department, and he keeps playing like this, and this team keeps winning, you have to consider him for MVP with those numbers. Marcus Morris also finding a bit of a home there. So that's very impressive for the Detroit Pistons. You've got to be happy for them, see them going well. It's been a long time since they've really been competitive, since they had those very good years. And those fans in Detroit are certainly hoping this may be the year for them. Another surprise would have to be the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are now 4-2. Again, we discussed Minnesota as a team that could possibly get things going. They do have Andrew Wiggins on that team, who played very well last year, as well as Karl Anthony Towns, the top overall pick in the draft. Kevin Garnett, I thought, would bring leadership. He's really not providing much on the court, but he certainly is. His leadership is certainly rubbing off, especially on a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, who would need it. I mean, you look at Garnett only averaging 2.3 points per game, really not doing much of anything thus far this season. Gonna need more from him. 5 rebounds per game, so isn't too bad. He's probably not even putting in that many minutes. I'd expect he's right around 20, as he's been for the past few seasons now. Andrew Wiggins just shy of 20 points per game at 19.8, only 1.7 assists, but his job is to score. And you look at this team, Ricky Rubio, 13 points per game. He's the one who's really got to get them rolling. He's their veteran, really. Outside of Kevin Garnett, he's their best veteran player. 9 assists per game, which is very good. He's got to keep doing that. He's still going to improve his shooting. That's a big thing. Karl Anthony Towns, 15.5 points per game, 10 rebounds. So he's very impressive in his rookie season. As far as disappointments, Memphis has got to be up there on the list. Memphis got beaten by 50 by Golden State last week, and I believe they also had a 40-point loss at some point. So they've come back a little bit. They're starting to play better, but this is a team that you expect a lot more out of this season. A team with championship aspirations. They're 3-5, so they're struggling a bit. Houston's starting to right the ship. They're up to 4-3. Milwaukee started 0-3. They're coming along. They're up to 0-3 or 4-3. Excuse me. Washington again is out of the playoff picture. They're 3-3. So it's still a long year, but those are just the basic disappointments as of now. Toronto up to 5-2. We'll see if they're ready to take the next step. Atlanta, actually another surprise. They were very good last year. Excuse me. Won over 60 games. They were off to a 7-2 start, so we'll see if they can replicate that. I thought they'd come back to earth a bit. I believe I had them right around the 50 win plateau, 53 wins, but who knows? Mike Budenholzer, we discussed that as far as a coach for a team like that, a guy from the Spurs system with a lot of good players and cog players as we'd call them, cogs in the machine. That's what you'd expect from the team. So they're off to a good start as well. Cleveland, of course, is on top of that division. They're waiting for Kyrie Irving to get back and they can really take off. Now, as far as power rankings, I'll give you the top five. I'd have Golden State. Obviously, they have to be number one. Two would be the Cleveland Cavaliers. Three, I would have the Atlanta Hawks. Four, the Toronto Raptors. And five, I got to give it to the Pistons. And especially, I didn't even realize Andre Drummond was playing that well. I got to start paying more attention. Obviously, in Detroit, you don't pay that much attention to him. But now I see he's really playing well. He's really stepping his game up. So we're going to continue to monitor Andre Drummond the rest of the year. Right, so there's your weekly NBA report. Couple days we will be giving you the Thursday night preview, and then we will be on the radio on Friday, so be sure to stay tuned for that later in the week, and we thank you so much for viewing.